Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Today I am out on the Tiger Sport and I'm specifically testing the shift assist on here. Been having some trouble with it recently, so it's been almost 2 weeks since I've had this installed on here. Last Friday I had to take this into the dealership again because after using it for like about a day, I started having trouble with the upshifts not working. The downshifts were still working, but when I would go to hit the upshift, it wasn't going anywhere. The shifter was just locked into place. Actually, it was like bruising my toes trying to kick that shifter up there, and it just wasn't working. Which is one of the reasons why I wasn't too terribly upset about having the dealership do the shift assist install. You know, basically it was a no-charge visit warranty repair, so they basically recalibrated everything again, and it worked okay for most of my ride home. And then I started noticing some weird issues with it again. The downshifts weren't working, but the upshifts also weren't working perfectly. I had some issues with it where I could not upshift unless I was precisely at 3,500 RPM, and then it would let me upshift just fine. So I let the bike sit for a few days, and I brought it to work with me today, and the thing's been working fine all day. I don't know what the issue is. The only thing I had happen to me was I had one false neutral, and that was it, and that was during an upshift. So yeah, so I'm testing it out now. It's about 102 degrees out here today in Arizona, so the bike's been sitting out in the sun all day. Last time I noticed the issue with it before I brought it back and had it recalibrated and everything. It was on a return trip home from work, sitting in the heat all day. So I don't know if there's something wrong with maybe one of the wires on the shift assist unit, or if it's heat related. So I'm testing it out now, taking it home, and I have another follow-up appointment tomorrow back with the dealership, and I'm debating whether I should keep it or not. Probably should. They said if there was continued issues with this, then they would probably just swap the shift assist for another model that they have there. Well, not another model, but another one of the same. They have multiple in stock. It's been shifting really smooth today, though. It's probably shifting better than it did the first day on my way home. Yeah, so I really don't know what the deal is. All right, I'm about to try the downshifts and see how that works. Pretty good. I have no idea what's going on. Oh, there it is. It's stuck again. Wow. Yeah, it just stuck from second to third. Yeah, stuck again from third to fourth. All right. Well, I'm not canceling my appointment. Let's see if it does it from fourth to fifth. Yeah, that one shifted. So yeah, there's still some issues going on with it. I'm not giving up on it just yet. And again, I've mentioned it previously. It's not really a deal breaker not having shift assist on here. It's just a nice to have. It's I would say it's more than a novelty, but it's definitely not a necessity. Yeah, all those shifts work great now. So it's very sporadic. It's really weird, and I'm hoping that now the dealership did tell me that they would prefer that I left it behind for them to work on it this time, so that I think that they'll have more time to notice the issue, because I think last time when I brought it in last week, they took it for a test ride and didn't notice anything right off. So they basically took my word for it, and then, you know, just went ahead and reprogrammed it, then took it for another test ride. So regulars of the channel will notice a little bit of a change that I did on here since I last posted a video, is that I took the this little windscreen visor that I had on the Honda MT750, and I installed it on this bike. What I noticed was that ever since I switched over from the Honda to the Triumph, my motovlogs have been really noisy, like a lot of wind noise to the helmet. And it doesn't matter, you know, what position I have the windscreen in. It's very comfortable riding. I don't get a lot of wind on me at all, but for some reason, it's just, and I've even noticed it, like a lot of wind noise coming up into the helmet. There are certain situations where I wouldn't really need to wear earplugs. Like one of my other helmets that I normally wear for commuting, it doesn't have all the camera stuff on it for motovlogging. So it's a Shoei Neotech 2. And when I wear that helmet, I usually don't wear earplugs if it's just, you know, normal commute stuff. If I'm doing any kind of highway stuff, I definitely wear earplugs, but there's certain situations where I can get away with it. But since moving over to this bike, I've got to wear earplugs even with that helmet. So I do notice for sure that there's an increase in wind noise inside the helmet since I started riding this bike. Just the dynamics of the windscreen, for some reason, I think there's a lot more air coming up from the bottom here. Anyway, I found out what I needed to find out for today is that I'm still having some issues with the shift assist, so I'm definitely going to keep the appointment for tomorrow, and I will finish this video once I pick up my bike and find out if there was a problem detected, or if they put a new shift assist on, or what the outcome was. So I'm going to sign off for now, and I will be back in a minute, or tomorrow. All right, see you in a minute. So what they told me was that this piece here was set by the factory wrong, and it was a little bit too high, which pulled everything else up a little bit too high. So when you would go to shift, there was no clearance under here, and it would end up hitting the plastic piece. So they went ahead and adjusted that for me, tightened everything down, took it for another calibration test ride, and they said it's working properly now. So I guess we will test it out and see if that is accurate. All right, let's check this out. Alright guys, I just picked up the bike after having it in service for over a week, and they ended up replacing the entire quick shifter unit. And the reason it took so long was because you know, it had to go through the Triumph parts warranty program, or whatever you want to call it, and you know, they had to get approval from Triumph, and they had to go through certain diagnostic troubleshooting in order to get the part replacement authorized. But that included doing some electronic testing, and I think ultimately what I was told happened was that they found out that, you know, on the diagnostics they were not getting voltage on the upshifts. So you know, it was kind of intermittent, but for the most part the upshifts had almost entirely stopped working. So anyway, it seems to be okay right now, but I've been down that path before. So I'm not going to use this return trip home today as, you know, like a final sign-off on this. This is definitely going to be something that I'm going to have to monitor over time to see if I have any continued issues with it, and I'll definitely keep you guys up to date on what I find out. So ultimately, there were a couple issues altogether with this shift assist. So now after getting the actual part replaced, I know that was defective, but there was also a setup issue from the factory. The shift actuator arm was a little bit too high, so the whole entire bar was too high, and then the shifter peg was actually hitting on the plastic piece on the body. So I don't know if that was causing any specific problems, but it can't be good. And it was definitely making a mark on the plastic, for rubbing up against it. So that is fixed now. That was actually fixed on my first visit back to the dealership a week after I originally had the shift assist installed. At that point, they had done a recalibration, and they thought everything was okay because it worked properly during the test ride. But then, after driving it, I think on the way home that day, towards the end of my return trip, it started acting up again. So, yeah, it's definitely been a process with this shift assist. So I'm hoping that this will be the final trip back for this issue. All I can say through this whole ordeal is that I'm really glad that I purchased it and had the install done through the dealership, because if I had installed this myself, I don't know if I would have had as good of support when dealing with this issue. I mean, I had zero out of pocket to have this fixed, and I'm sure I took up a lot of the dealership's time during their troubleshooting and test rides on this thing. So I really appreciate their help on this, and really happy that they took my word for it when I told them there was an issue, when it wasn't really evident during their test rides. That at that point it was an intermittent issue, so it wasn't happening all the time. And I do not have any affiliation with this dealership. It's just the closest one to me. And so far I've been really happy with their service and their support. I did want to mention that I received some comments in my last video for the quick shifter install and my first impressions, that there are a number of people that are actually having some issues similar to mine, where they get a transmission fault error and things just aren't working properly. So I'm not sure what that's all about. All I can say is that I would recommend, if anybody else is having trouble like I was having, to contact your closest dealership and see if they can do some troubleshooting on it. And the part itself is warranted, so technically if you did do the install yourself and had a dealer activate it, they should still support the part. I would imagine that would still be covered. So I'm just happy I didn't have to worry about any of that process, because the dealership that I purchased it from is the one that installed it, and they're the one that did the troubleshooting and the part replacement and all that stuff. So it was really hands-off for me at that point. But if you're having trouble, definitely follow up with your dealership if possible. Worst case, you can still shift the bike manually as usual, but there could be some kind of electronic failure or something in this thing. And I also wanted to mention that I had not gotten the unit wet. When the shift assist was installed, and then I started having problems, I had not done any commutes in the rain. I had not washed the bike in between those time frames, so it was just what appears to be electrical issue with the device itself. So far, so good. That's all I can say right now, is that it appears to be functioning really awesome right now. I really hope it stays like this, because again, it has felt like this before, and then it totally crapped out. So I will be really happy if it just stays working. I don't want to say that I was doubting my purchase, but I'm just wondering, is this bike going to be a mechanical issue going forward? And I certainly hope not. I don't want to let one add-on part cloud my judgment like that, so we'll wait and see how everything else works out. At this point, I'm a few hundred miles in on this bike. I really haven't gone, really far distances on this thing yet, so I've been kind of taking it easy, doing in-town stuff and commute riding until I get to that first service at 600 miles. So after I have that done, I plan on doing some more adventuring around here. So I'll take some longer rides right out into the mountains, maybe take some short trips up to like Sedona or some of the other cities around here. Do some photos and videos of the bike around there. But once I hit that first service, I do plan on taking some longer trips, so stay tuned if you're interested in that sort of thing. Yeah, it's working really good right now. Well, guys, that is my shift assist update for today. If any of you guys have any comments or questions, if you've experienced any issues like I have so far with the Triumph shift assist, drop your comments down below. It might help somebody else too. But that is all for now, and I will see you guys on the next one.